Go. Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Robinson, CEO here at Hireology, and I'm excited to host today's installment of our latest Quick Hit series. Just a reminder that our Quick Hit series are quarterly series of short, digestible webinars that cover a specific, timely theme. This quarter, we're covering all things attracting and hiring talent in the hospitality industry. And for today's webinar, we're going to touch on something that's really important in today's hiring climate, and that's balancing speed and quality. Top candidates have a lot of options for work, so you want to speed up the hiring process and move fast in order to beat the hotels down the street. But at the same time, you want to avoid cutting corners and make sure you're bringing on the right people for the job. So today, we're going to dig into exactly how you can find that balance. And with that, let's get started. Before we dive in, I want to take a minute to cover the current hiring landscape first. This is baseline information we've covered in the last several webinars of this series, but it's important to touch on for anyone new to this series as it lays the groundwork for why hiring speed is so crucial in the hospitality space right now. In general, across all industries, we're currently facing an unprecedented labor shortage. As of December, the Wall Street Journal estimated that there are 2 unemployed job seekers for every 3 open jobs. Now, this means you're not just competing with the other hotels for talent, you're competing across all industries, from retail to tech to auto and more. I mean, people have so many options for work that they can be extremely selective in where they apply and which jobs they take. Now, I do think we're seeing this ease up a bit after several months of really healthy job growth, but I know that the hospitality space has been hit harder by this labor shortage than really any other industry. So I think you're likely still feeling the pain here. And chances are you will for a while. So it's good to get these best practices in place now. To further paint this picture, a recent Hireology survey found that 45% of today's job seekers are actually applying to more than 10 jobs. So not only are these people facing plenty of options for work, they're also doing their due diligence in looking for the employers and the roles that are right for them. So to put this another way, this means that when that person is sitting in front of you in that interview, they have 10 other companies that they're considering. So what are you doing to stand out to them as an employer of choice? And of course, this is where speed comes into play. So not only are today's job seekers applying to 10 or more jobs, they're also getting hired really quickly once they throw their name in the ring. 43% of our respondents reported that they got hired within 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks from the initial application to when they received an offer. So again, if you have a good candidate, you really need to position yourself to be able to move quickly. Otherwise, you're just going to miss out on those top job seekers. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's common knowledge that the hospitality space is experiencing the worst of this crisis. According to EMSI, jobs in the hospitality space have increased substantially in the last year, more than any other industry, right? Openings for hotel desk clerks and waiters and waitresses are up about 80% from a year ago, and baggage porters, bellhops are up more than 180%. And of course, this is largely because you were forced to let people go at the onset of the pandemic, and many of these people are now exploring other career opportunities or industries, or are choosing to remain outside the workforce permanently. You'll see in these month-over-month numbers that they're actually negative, which can be attributed, I think, to seasonality. So most areas of the country are not in their peak season right now for tourists and travel, but this is going to change quickly, which is why this discussion is important right now. I mean, you really need to take some time to assess your current talent sourcing and process before the travel season picks up, which brings me to my next point. You might be thinking, okay, it's slow now. I'm not picking up until late spring or summer. Why do I need to hire so quickly right now? But it takes time to start yielding results from your efforts to improve your process. So really the time to start digging into this was yesterday. Like I mentioned, seasonal upswings are coming. Spring break for southern states and summer tourist season for states in the Northeast and even destinations like Michigan and Wisconsin. You may actually be seeing a downswing in demand right now and thus hiring right now as well. But this is going to change, as you well know, really, really quickly. So the sooner you get ahead of it, the better off you'll be. Additionally, Omicron cases are well past their peak, and experts predict that given the vaccines plus prior infections, we're reaching a point where the majority of the population has some sort of protection. And so that means people are going to want to get out and travel more. So you're going to see a big boom in demand, which is good. But ultimately, if you're not ahead of the upswing in demand, you're going to be understaffed and you're going to find yourself unable to keep up with this demand. Maybe some rooms go unbooked, or maybe your bar and restaurant reduces hours, or God forbid, close for days at a time because you can't staff them, which means you're missing out on that revenue. So on top of that, when you're short staffed, it just leads to poor customer service and ultimately unhappy customers and bad reviews. So of course, making rushed or desperate hiring decisions just to fill open jobs isn't the answer either, which is why we wanted to offer advice that touches on how to move fast while also ensuring you're making great hires and truly bringing on the people who are going to add to your business, not take away from it. So as someone who's built a business, I certainly know the impact of a poor fit hire. CareerBuilder estimated in terms of hard numbers, a bad hire can cost around $15,000 in the time and resources it took to hire that person, to train them, all the manager and onboarding time. But of course, this impact is more than that. Poor fit hires in the hospitality space have a direct impact on your guest experience, as I just mentioned, leading to poor reviews and lost revenue opportunities down the line. And it can even cause tension with your existing employees who, as we noted earlier, have plenty of options for work and really don't have to stick around in an understaffed environment and continue to work for you. So it's clear that the cost of a poor hire is massive. And so while we want to move fast, we want to find a way to do so without sacrificing quality. So that brings us to the meat of this webinar. How exactly can you speed up your hiring process without sacrificing quality? I'm going to dig into 4 major areas of focus and specifically dive into how each of these helps improve speed and hiring quality. Now, the first area of focus here is employee referrals. Referrals can help with speed because these candidates are essentially already vetted by your top employees. So you save the time you'd spend combing through resumes and online listings results and debating internally about whether or not to bring that person on to the next step. In fact, we took a look at all of our customers and using our employee referral technology found that referral candidates are actually on average hired 3 days faster than non-referral candidates. And when it comes to quality, referral candidates are typically much more aligned with your company, aligned with the role, and aligned with your core values. And again, that's because your existing team already have vetted these people, and typically they refer their peers who are similar to them in terms of work ethic and values. So with referrals, you're moving forward with someone who is more qualified right from the start. And additionally, since these people heard about your open role through a trusted peer, they're also typically more interested in you right off the bat too. So really, referrals are a win-win in terms of both speed and quality. Now, of course, getting the most out of your referral program requires some effort on your end. You have to work to get the word out about your program. Using things like physical signage with QR codes for easy submission, or even investing in tools like Hireology that help you send internal text and email campaigns to your existing employees to spread the word. Additionally, employee referral programs have to be really easy for people to participate in. Otherwise, they're just not going to go out of their way. So again, that's where tools like ours can really help. You'll see on the bottom left-hand corner here, using our texting campaign feature, you can actually text your employees and empower them to submit referrals directly from their phones. No long, no long forms required. No need to fill it out. No need to gather internal referral candidate resumes. No Excel. Really removing all barriers to participation, making it really as easy as possible. The next area of focus when it comes to balancing speed and quality is candidate texting. In terms of speed, texting has allowed Hireology customers to shave 8 full days on average off their hiring process. So at a time when people are getting hired in 2 weeks, the ability to cut a week off your process is huge. Texting speeds it up because it saves the time that candidates would otherwise need to spend navigating inboxes or finding time to set up a call. All that email back and forth just eats up days. I mean, think about your email inbox right now. It's likely cluttered with a bunch of junk you don't really want to read. You maybe find a couple that you're going to respond to, but if you're someone who's working on the go, it's tough to find time to search through email on your phone and respond. But with text, the messages come right to the candidate, and it's just so easy for them to quickly reply. In terms of quality, again, these top candidates are looking at a lot of employers, so you need to be the one to stand out and get to them before the others do. So while your competitor's offer for an interview is sitting in their email along with 200 other emails, your message is going straight to their phone and being read. And here's a quick look at how something like this works. Now, I know many of you might not have used texting in the recruiting process before, so it might be tough to visualize. But with tools like Hireology, you can do this right from your desktop. You don't literally need to be texting from your phone. Nor would I recommend that's what you do. It's so simple, and it's a really easy way to break through the clutter for those top candidates. Next, you're going to need to take a look at your hiring process. So if you're still winging it when the applications come in, or you have different teammates use different processes, you're likely moving slower than you could, and chances are you're not hiring the right people. A great process speeds up your hiring efforts by making sure everyone on the team knows what to do and when to do it. And when you define the process, you can even build in mandated response time. So for example, you might say all applications need to be reviewed within 24 hours. Or after any interview, you need to respond within 24 hours with next steps. Clear and repeatable steps with timeframes understood by managers running the process allows for them to move faster, work more efficiently, and I think ultimately helps you hold them accountable to doing it. And then in terms of quality, a well-defined process will ensure that no verification steps are missed. This is often the biggest contributing factor to bad hires. You have teams skipping interviews or winging it or conducting them poorly, or maybe you choose not to call references, or maybe you forget to order that drug test or background check. You need to have these standard steps in place that allow you to identify the best of the best. And as an added bonus, candidates can sense when you have a smooth hiring process on your end. It's really a reflection of management quality in their eyes. So from the candidate's perspective, this tight process tells them that you value their time and their experience, which in their minds directly translates into how you'll be as an employer. So here's an example of a really well-defined hiring process. Of course, this is oversimplified for the point of this deck, but the idea here is to clearly define what happens and when it happens, and how long each phase should take in order to keep that process as tight as possible and get those top candidates in as soon as you can. And finally, the tools you use in the hiring process are really going to make a big difference when it comes to both speed and quality. The key is looking for all-in-one tools that allow you to do everything from post the open roles, to host them on your career site, to run your referral program, to track candidates, score interviews, order drug screens, send offers, all from one place. So you'll save significant time and resources by not having to jump from system to system to complete all of these steps and then re-enter all this information. Everything you need can be done from one central platform using the same data. And then in terms of quality, again, this is going to result in an all-around better experience for the candidate. Candidates can absolutely sense if you're relying on outdated tools and techniques when it comes to hiring, and it signals to them that you're behind the times as an employer. So let me dive into a visual to explain this a little bit further. When you're operating with disparate systems, it's really tough to execute steps like candidate communications to scheduling interviews to onboarding. And in turn, you just can't connect with the modern job seeker, move them through the process and get them hired like you want to. You end up conducting the whole process in silos and manually re-entering data and missing communications as you move from system to system. Basically, it just slows you down. It makes everything feel really clunky for that job seeker and creates errors, which are bad, and overall just makes the process more about you and less about the candidate. Now, when all of your tools come together under one platform, with people, that human being at the center of the process, you can move fast, you can save time, you can reduce errors, and truly put people first in the process. Candidates who come in through job boards or referrals, or even your career site, all funneled into one single applicant tracking system. You can communicate with all of these candidates and track their progress within that system, regardless of where they came from. You can then order those drug screens or reference checks from that same system. It helps you move fast, and it ensures that not only are you moving forward with the very best in the bunch, but you're also keeping those top candidates engaged and not looking elsewhere. So to summarize, recruiting and hiring is a huge challenge for hotels today. That's not breaking news. Across all industries, there are 3 job openings for every 2 job seekers, but in our space, some employers have 80% more openings than they had a year ago. Seasonal upswings and declining COVID cases are only going to contribute to this issue. So you need to set yourself up to move really fast when a good candidate does come around without sacrificing that quality. There is nothing worse than making a rash hiring decision with your back against the wall and bringing on someone who isn't the right fit. It's all about finding that balance between speed and quality. And focusing on these 4 areas: referrals, texting, a well-defined hiring process, and the right tools can help you do just that. And that's all I have for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been, if you have any questions, if you've been listening in and want to know more, if you want to speak to us one-on-one about how we may help you improve your hiring efforts today, reach out to us at info@hireology.com. And we have one more webinar in this quick hit series, which will provide a deeper dive into our platform and how it's built for the hotel and hospitality space. So be sure to check your email for instructions on how to register. With that, thank you very much for joining, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck out there.